Good afternoon, and thank you for joining me for another Cup of Joe. My name is Joe, aka Daffy Rob, and it's Friday. We made it through the week. It's been a week. It's been a lot warmer here in good old Ohio, so there is that much to my dismay. I'm definitely like the cold. So I did get my audio because my audio was working, so I just wasn't 100% sure. So I did make sure everything is good. We're good to go. So let's jump into today's topic, which is kind of a heavy topic, I guess, heading into the weekend, but it is something that I know some people close to me that are dealing with, and me personally to some extent as well. And that's dealing with loss. Whether it be you lose somebody because they passed away, or maybe it's the loss of a friendship, which can be just as traumatic, or well, traumatic is maybe not the word, but as impacting as losing a loved one can be, especially if you've known somebody for quite a while. I know a lot of things can spur changes in people's lives, and some of that is, someone passed away, or a lot of self-questioning, like, well, what could I have done differently? Or, in the case of losing somebody, as far as, due to health and stuff like that, there really isn't anything you can do. I know for me, I lost my mom before I turned 21, like really right before my 21st birthday to cancer. And it sucked, but at the same time, I know she's in a better place. And then my dad suddenly died, I think almost 4 years ago now. So, but again, he's in a better place as well and free of pain. So, I can definitely understand where some people's like loss hits people harder. Like, I don't know how I would act if I lost my son, or something like that. So, and that being said, let's look at losing a friendship. For me, that's something that's impacted me recently. Someone who's very close to me, someone who I, hold dear to my heart, due to my own insecurities and due to my own wanting to make things happen that really aren't there. I'm obsessive to some extent, and it was definitely something that I came to realize, but I realized it too late. And when I did say something about it at that point, they had already checked out. So, and that's really what spurred a lot of this on, because for me personally, I really started to, make changes to my life for the wrong reasons, and wanting to try to change for others in hopes that they would see that change and then accept me, or whatever. I mean, in this case, like hoping to win somebody back who it wasn't meant to be, I suppose. So, but at the same time, losing that friendship, it's a friendship that meant a lot to me. And so I guess really what I was thinking is, like, how can we deal with that? For me, like, in the past, usually I have a tendency to dwell on things, and then I get into, depression, and, I don't, what's funny is I don't have these issues when I lose somebody due to, like death or something like that. And I think that is because I can justify that in my mind. Like, there's nothing that I can do for this person. It's kind of the same way even with, suicide to some extent, maybe. Like, I had someone commit suicide close to me, but at the same time, like, I realized there's really nothing that I could have done. Like, I can sit there and make excuses all day, like, oh, I could have reached out to them. Like, yeah, I could have. But at the end of the day, if they're not willing to hear, to reach out themselves, and, and really, there's nothing that I can do, and I can't take that on me. It sucks, but there's nothing I can do, and it was really getting to me. But at the same time, I realized that there's nothing I can do about it. They were going to make that choice. And there's just nothing I can do. It wasn't something that I could have changed, or, I could sit here all day and sit there and say like, oh, well, I could have been there. Well, yeah, I guess. But I mean, at the same time, like, what are you going to be watching 24/7? So I know it seems hard and maybe crass to say something like that, but the fact of the matter is it's the truth. Like, you have to be honest with yourself. Like, you can sit there and take the blame on yourself, and at the end of the day, you're carrying a burden that isn't yours to carry, and you have to set that burden down, because ultimately what it's going to lead is you hurting more than what you can grieve for the person, but there's no sense carrying a burden that isn't yours to carry. And I think it's the same with losing a loved one to health concerns and stuff like that. Like, they're in a better place. They're not suffering anymore. You can miss them, but cherish their memories. I believe that we'll see them again at some point, and it's just, they're free of this world, this suffering, and I had a friend that lost a family member recently, someone who was very close to her. And when she was telling me the story of when her grandmother had passed, I almost started crying, because it was the way that, she was brought to peace to some extent, was that she had a dream, vision, whatever, but it was her grandmother. It was her grandmother basically being like, "Hey, I'm full now. I'm better." And then not only that, but she also saw like her mother and things like that, and it almost brought a peace to my friend. And and that's the thing, right? Like, we can miss them, but they're in a better place. They are full. They're whole now. They're not suffering with the things of this world. They're not. And we'll see them again, and we'll sing and we'll dance and we'll remember the good times, and we're just here, until that time. So cherish their memories, celebrate their memories, and just think that, hey, we'll see them again. And hey, if you don't believe that, then I can't change your opinion on that. So I mean, it's still cherish your memories and celebrate who they were and what they've done for you and what they meant to you. And so, circling back around to a loss of a friendship. Now, that is something that you may not. In my case, it was because of me. It was because that I'm not able to handle. I have a very low self-esteem. I have a very low self-worth. And so I put my wealth, my value into other people. I want them to see me as someone who is a good friend, as someone who, I want to be wanted, I guess is the best way to say it. So when I have a friend who isn't responding to that, I start to feel like, well, what did I do? What did I do? So I just keep pressing and keep pressing and keep pressing. And, in this case, that's what happened. And not only that, but in my case, the relationship really wasn't healthy anyways, because I have other feelings that are underlying that, and I need to be able to, let those feelings go. And I just realized it too late. But what's interesting is I found myself in a position where when this ended, like, it sucks. And before, had this been a couple months ago, I would have been sleeping in bed and just not wanting to communicate with anybody. But I found this time to be different. Like, they're doing their own thing, they're healing, and I have faith that eventually we'll come back around again. And it sucks that they're not there anymore, and it sucks that I can't enjoy those conversations, can't enjoy the laughter that we had. And and to me, it is like losing, a family member or somebody like that, but it was something because of what I did. in what I've said. And that ultimately, I think, is the difference, is that we can change that. We can change, we can take those relationships and we can better ourselves because of it. For me, like, I'm taking this opportunity to really just think ahead of what I want to do with my life. Where do I want to be in 10 years? And how am I going to achieve that? Whether it be through, weight loss and things like that, and to find my own self-worth within me. Maybe I should just title this video self-worth. I don't know. Maybe I'll do that another time. So really, with all that out of the way, I guess bottom line is, how do we deal with loss, right? So we can retreat from the world and not interact with anybody, and just make things worse, or we can do something about it. We can recognize the things that are in our lives that affect others in a negative way, and what can we do to avoid that in the future with other friendships. Everybody is different. Every friendship that you have is going to be different. I'm very malleable in that aspect, in that, like, I'll adapt, I'll change things about myself to fit in with people. It may not be the healthiest thing, but for me, I don't mind it. I don't mind sacrificing things that I may like, to be friends with somebody, because to me that relationship is more than just something that I may or may not like. I like having friends with differing opinions. So if it's something that we may not agree on, we can argue about it, but let's come to an understanding too. But what I found this time was getting myself busy rather than just sitting around not doing anything. Do something. For me, I started doing this transformation of my room here, getting things up off the floor, organizing things. And I actually found it to be somewhat therapeutic. Like, it took my mind off the immediate issue. It gave me some time to think about things. And now here I am making videos on YouTube, recording and other stuff like that. Regardless if people are watching, it's something that I can do to keep my mind off things while bettering myself. And not only that, setting up goals for myself. Look at the video that we had yesterday. We talked about setting up goals. My goal for next week, starting Tuesday, is to walk every single morning. At least 3 miles. And by the end of the week, have 15 miles under my belt. Start eating better. As far as controlling the diet, start putting together a budget. For I eventually would love to move somewhere. Some friends and I are talking about. It's something that I really would love to do, is to move into a community. What that looks like, I don't know, but buy some land and just live with one another. Like, just, I don't know, a hippie village, whatever you want to call it. But that to me would be amazing. Just a group of friends, just hanging out day in, day out, like a group of friends, and living, together. And it sounds weird, I guess, but I don't know. So anyways, that being said, like, busy yourself. Find something that you can do. My friend decided to throw herself into recording as well. So, and that's something that she's doing, and she's trying to be productive in that aspect. So, and it's pretty amazing to watch right now. The transformation from where she was, like, 2 months ago, and she's doing amazing. So, but that being said, like, we all have different ways of dealing with things, and I strongly urge, you know who you are. Keep it up. All right, you're doing amazing. So, and then as for for me, all I can do is just keep striving forward. I think everything is going to be okay. I miss my friend dearly. There's a hole there. It really is. They meant a lot to me. And they always will. But for right now, I think, it is. As much as it sucks, I do need to get I do need to get better. I do need to get well. So so yeah, like if you're dealing with the loss of a friendship, if you're dealing with loss, like if there was, it's not always about you either. It could just be the other person. You could have not done anything wrong. Um, and again, like if you recognize that, give it some time, give it some space, revisit it, in a couple weeks and see what happens, and but ultimately don't let it beat you down to the point where you're just going to hide and not want to get out and not want to do something, because ultimately that is where the loneliness and everything starts to creep in, and then it can just snowball from there. I can look back where I was 2 weeks ago, and it was not in a good place. That Saturday was not good. So, but here I am, trying to encourage others, and hopefully be able to encourage others that may be struggling with the same things. I know this video is kind of all over the place, and I might just change the title a little bit. So, and then go more in depth into the specific parts of it. So, but I want to say this: if you're dealing with loss today, reach out to a friend, get together with somebody, celebrate, if it was due to health reasons or what have you, celebrate their life, talk about them, but know that if you believe, if you believe this way, that you'll see them again. It's just, depending how old you are, celebrate your life and just remember that you will see them again. If you're dealing with the loss of a friendship, like introspect why. If you find out there was nothing that you did or nothing that you could have done, then let it go, let it simmer, and they'll either come back or they won't. You can always try reaching out, and say like, hey, see how you're doing, and then go from there. But again, there's a billion people out there to meet. So, yeah. But you, my friends, have value. Just remember that. And you are cared about and you are loved by somebody, even if it doesn't feel like that. So, all right. Well, this was kind of a weird video. So, there's going to be plenty of those, I suppose. But just hang in there. Yeah, things are going to get better. Things will get better. It may not seem like it, but who knows what 2 years from now holds? Who knows where in 2 years where you'll be. I know this, that in 2 years, the Joe that's sitting here won't be the same Joe that's going to be 2 years from now. That I can guarantee. And if I am, then I'm doing something terribly wrong, and I would have let you guys down. So that being said, friends, I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. I'm not going to be recording a couple shows on Saturdays and Sundays, but I will be doing the gameplay videos. Those are scheduled to come out on the weekends as well. So I hope you all have a wonderful weekend. Remember, daylight savings time is this weekend. That really sucks, but hey, whatever. Time change sucks. So, other than that, friends, may all your stories be glad ones, and may your roads be smooth and short. Until next time, I'll see you on Monday. Death Joe signing off.